Steve Sanchez here again in Piedmont Park. Today we're going to talk about lindens, particularly our native linden, which is also called basswood, sometimes called bee tree. Bee tree because it's one of the few large canopy trees that's actually pollinated by bees. Most large trees, because of their height, because of their size, are typically wind pollinated, but not the lindens. The basswoods, lindens are pollinated by bees, and they provide an ample amount of nectar. So when they are swarmed by bees, you can actually hear the buzz up in the canopy. It's a slightly sweet fragrance. You can smell it when you get close to it. From afar, I don't know if you would really smell it. It's a very important tree of our forest here in the southeast, particularly along our rivers. That's mainly where you find it in the metro Atlanta area, is along our large rivers. It comes down from the mountains. In the mountains it's much more prevalent, but down here it's found along our larger rivers. Now, the one in the Piedmont typically has a white underside, and it's called variety heterophylla. It's a variety of the American linden. There's only one American linden, but there are several varieties underneath it. One of the key factors in identifying it first is the heart-shaped leaf, and if you'll notice, the heart shape is uneven at the base. That's a very key indicator of how to tell this from what you might consider a close-looking leaf, maybe a red mulberry, very similar looking, but it doesn't have that uneven base. Another way to really identify this tree is the flower and fruit, which has this bract on the pedestal that holds the fruit and flowers. What this thing does is when it finally drops and falls, it allows it a little bit of a wing that allows it to fly away and get away from the mother plant. A great tree in the fact that it's a very tall tree. We have very few trees that grow as tall as this one, up to 100 feet tall in our forest. And that's particularly because it does grow along rivers, which is the lower parts of the environment, the lower parts of the topography. And therefore, to get the sunlight, they grow tall. Also, rather skinny tree with beautiful striated gray bark. Unfortunately, we don't see this tree enough in the trade. It's a beautiful tree, typically has some nice light yellow, butter yellow fall color. And of course, being a major pollinator tree, it's also another good tree for the environment. So highly recommend looking for the American linden, basswood, bee tree. By any name, it's a beautiful tree.